Hey, Tanner, welcome to the show. Before we started recording, you mentioned something that you were doing in the past that was sucking you into the day to day and killing growth. What was that?
Yeah. In the past, I was the sole reviewer for all of our work that went out to our clients. I was the bottleneck and it just kept stacking up and stacking up and stacking up. Didn't work.
It's a common problem I hear a lot. So give me a little bit more context. What specifically was happening and how is it affecting the company's growth?
Yeah. So for one, our work orders that we're an engineering firm, our work orders that we write for our clients, they were arriving late because I had 30 work orders in my stack to review to go to the client. We were missing deadlines. We were adding engineers to our staff as well, and reviews weren't getting any faster. We want to maintain a high quality of work. It needs to have a review process, but having me as the only person that can do that just was not scalable in any way.
And how did it affect you personally?
Lots of late nights, missed workouts. I don't know about other people, but if I'm not physically active for like a week or two, I start to feel really bad, and the stress kind of mounts and start skipping workouts, and back starts hurting because I'm not sitting up straight anymore.
So in that messy middle moment, what did you realize that had to change and what'd you start doing differently?
Absolutely, yeah. So I started looking at my team of engineers. The first thing I did was I need some managers. I selected two of my best engineers and made them engineering managers and gave them the authority to one, have input into the review process. Like, what do you guys think looks like? How can we best maintain our quality work? Ultimately, letting them be the final reviewer and coming to me for questions when they have questions. But yeah, I invited them into the process. They helped me help the company design the review process, and I think we have better quality work before than when it was just me reviewing it. They're better at doing it than I am now, which is what I was shooting for.
Well, congratulations on working through that and getting that burden off of your plate. It makes a big difference when we share the load, doesn't it?
Sure does. Sure does. Yeah. One person can only do so much, right?
So, Tanner, tell us the name of your company and what do you guys do?
So we kind of operate under the advertising name of like the trademark of UTS Group. UTS Group consists of two companies, UTS Engineering and UTS Construction Services. We started out as an engineering company and we added on the construction piece later. So technically two companies. I've been here since the start, kind of helping drive the engineering piece. And then one of my business partners, he helps run he kind of built the construction piece of it.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So, stepping into ownership requires a leap of faith. What was the biggest surprise between what you expected ownership to be like and what it has actually been like?
Ooh, it's there's some. I joke a little bit and say like, there's an advantage to the 9 to 5, like being a 9 to 5 employee. Um, it doesn't your work doesn't really follow you around. I mean, you go home at the end of the day, and it's not your problem ultimately.
Right. Yeah.
So, I say don't overlook it. Don't overlook the 9 to 5. But for those of us that are business owners, we know that. I'm sure anyone else would say, well, that's probably one of the bigger changes is it follows you around everywhere. And at the end of the day, it is still
Yeah.
your responsibility. And that was kind of a shock to me. It was just all responsibilities fall to the owners. So it's kind of a pretty heavy burden, but one I think that can be managed with the right skills and training and resources and systems and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for being honest and transparent with us today. I appreciate that. Before the show, Tanner, you shared that back office work keeps pulling you into the day to day now. So give us a little bit more context. What's happening there?
Yeah. So uh, first, I'll say this up front. We went 5 months in 2025 with no financials. Um, pretty hard to do. Pretty hard to do business planning like that.
Right.
The we were we were still punching in credit card transactions for 115 employees. We were punching in credit card transactions into QuickBooks Desktop one at a time by hand. Not good. And then on the accounts receivable side, we work with a lot of. We work for electric utilities. That's the industry we serve. So like your Duke Energies, your AES Indianas, your NIPSCOs, those kinds of companies. I mean, they're big companies, and their invoicing requirements can be. I mean, they're usually very specific. There and a lot of supporting documentation required. Everyone's different, so there's no two invoice between clients that looks the same. They take a long time to prepare, even with like Excel macros and fancy stuff. It still takes a long time to do it, and we just got crazy behind on invoicing. And I mean, if you don't have your expenses and you don't have your income, I mean, he can't close the books, so, right? So
Right. Yeah.
both of those were
Yeah.
behind. So, and it's still a challenge today. I mean, we're improving, we're adjusting systems, but we are not through it yet.
Tanner, how does that affect you not having the books closed and having this administrative work piling up?
We're flying blind, flying by the seat of our pants,
Mm,
right? Um, which I mean, it's worked so far, but we can't do that forever. I mean, we need to it, we need to know what's I mean, when first of all, for growth purposes, we need to know if we have the funds to pursue growth. And I don't think we can make that decisions. I mean, I think it's a little fuzzy right now on how much we can't like how much can we sustainably grow. we
right.
we, we try to maintain a pretty low debt ratio. I think it maybe not a super traditional approach, but we try to stay pretty close to zero debt as much as we can, just for de-risking. And yeah, that's hard to plan for. Like we need to buy if we need to buy an $800,000 back truck, or if there's an opportunity to grow that line of business, I don't think we can make a very solid decision on whether we can do that right now.
Yeah. So it definitely sounds like a priority. If it doesn't change, what does it cost the business?
Ooh, well, I mean, you could it's probably not a ton of money, but our credit line, I mean, we're incurring interest on a credit line, so there's some expense there. There's opportunity cost of growth that we could have pursued that we didn't. There's, if you want to look at it, like if getting invoices paid sooner, I mean, that's expensive. Like delaying invoice payments, that's expensive for opportunity cost as well. I mean, if you say, well, put 10% investment on the S&P, you could probably make a number to it, but the bigger number is probably the missed opportunities.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So what was getting in the way of this being taken care of?
So we have basically just one person, that 1/2 when they're available, two people to do invoice writing, and with them being as complicated as they are. I mean, I don't
Right.
even know if it's so much of a like in terms of like back office staff ratio, like per employee. Like I've seen numbers from like 1 to 3 back office staff per 100 employees. Like we're not really out of band on that. I'm like we have a reasonable for our side. I think we have a reasonable back office staff, but we just don't have good systems to like
Mm,
many of these things are automatable, but we have not pursued that because it
yeah.
worked for a long time. I mean, when we were 30 employees, it worked just fine. We didn't need to change anything.
Yes, 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 yes. A very common messy middle moment where the business outgrows the current how it's being run, the current systems and structure, and what worked well when the business was smaller just doesn't work anymore. So yeah, I can completely understand that.
And I can't remember who said this, but it's a quote I've repeated a few times. Quote goes, "Every time you double in size, you break all your systems." I don't know where I got that from, but I've repeated it a few times, and
Well,
I fully completely true.
especially if the systems were manual, right? It
Yeah,
definitely breaks manual systems because, yeah, you mentioned automation a couple times, that there's a lot that can be automated and allow team members to be significantly more efficient and effective. But it doesn't just happen organically. Does need to be planned and different systems evaluated and tested and measured and figure out which one is right. And then the implementation, right, takes time as well.
and change management, we struggle with that.
Fair enough, right? For those listening, I'm Coach Tim Campsall, and we work with business owners in the messy middle, what we've been talking about today, where the business outgrows how it's being run and keeps the owner in the day to day. So, Tanner, what lesson do you wish that you had learned sooner to allow you to get out of the day to day and be able to work more on the business?
Ooh, I wish I'd known that our systems were going to break before they did, so we could
Mm,
have started planning for it in advance.
yeah.
Like executing the work, we're kind of doing okay, but yeah, all the supporting, like I mean, getting paid, we're not doing that very well. So
Which is
I
kind of
wish I was
important.
kind of important. Yep, I love what we do, and we do what we do because we enjoy it because we think it's a good product, but we're able to keep doing it because we get paid.
Well, the desire to know that, systems will break sooner. What was the cost? What's been the cost of not having that knowledge, not knowing that and being able to plan for it?
Oh, late nights, high stress levels, getting extended on our line of credit and having to chase down, I don't know, submit invoices for work done many months ago.
Sure.
It's, yeah, you could put probably a dollar amount to it as well as kind of like an emotional burden part of it as well.
Yeah. So when you're in that and you're juggling the taking care of the customer and the work that you've committed yourself to, but you have this back office burden, the emotional stressor. How do you balance that? How do you manage that?
One, ask for help.
Mm,
I don't know. I've struggled with delegation because I like doing things and I like doing things in a pretty specific way. But I'm one person, and that's been a huge lesson for me is delegation of tasks, delegation of authority. I do believe those are two different things.
mm.
Yeah, get help. Try to get it sooner rather than later. Um, and yeah, I'd say that's one thing
Yeah.
that helps.
You mentioned delegation, and that is it's an interesting challenge that most businesses have, especially in this messy middle stage, because oftentimes it's the first time that we're letting go fully and completely and needing to trust someone else to independently run it. And so management is a critical skill that we often just don't learn how to be a great manager. And so instead of delegating, we can oftentimes abdicate, which is finally I have somebody else who's willing to take this off my plate, and then we just dump it on them, right? And hope that they're going to be able to figure it out because finally we don't have to do it anymore. And oftentimes the person doesn't figure it out as well because they don't have the knowledge and the skills and the experience, right, of doing it for as long as we've been doing it. So one of the things that we teach our clients is management and what management means. And right, and you mentioned a couple of the key components of it is first of all is having a system or a process mapped out of, hey, this thing that I've been doing for 10 years that you're going to start doing, right? Here's how I actually do it. Here's a document or an SOP or a video or something that explains how I do it so that you can learn from that and you can refer back to it. Because if we just shadow somebody, typically people only retain about 7% of what we tell them. And if they take notes, they'll retain about 50%. But the other 50%, right, they're not going to have a memory of how to do it. So if we've written it out, right, they can go back to that document and review it. And then right, the other key component of delegation is accountability, right? So having clarity on what are the expectations and having a regular check-in to make sure that they're doing what we expect of them and we're available for them to ask questions to. And so yeah, management is a skill that often doesn't get taught. And so we all do the best that we can. And oftentimes I hear, well, I tried to give it to somebody else, but they weren't able to do it as well as me. So I took it back.
Yep, I get that.
And then, whoops, well, taking it back doesn't solve anything. And so, yeah, it can be a bit of a do loop of I tried, but it failed. So I'm just doing it myself. Now, all the things you just talked about earlier, right? You become the bottleneck and we can't continue to move the business forward because these things haven't been let go to somebody else. So it's awesome that you're working through that. What learning from the first story of letting go of the initial work of the engineering work and follow up there. What lesson did you learn there that can apply to this conversation as well in terms of the back office stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for one, we did write a or sorry, we wrote a lot of SOPs. We built a little template in Google Workspace or a little SOP template. We even standardized the styling on it. We got really fancy with it. And we probably wrote, I don't know, 20 or so SOPs for engineering work and engineering reviews and so on and so forth. I didn't really think of it until you brought it up, but I mean, that's probably something that we should be doing for the back office because I mean every single client that we that we invoice should have its own SOP because there's so many steps to it. It's so specific, and it's an interesting stat. was not aware of that stat that shadowing someone, you only get 7%. You only retain 7%. I mean, that's shocking. But I believe it now that you say it. So I'd say that's something we definitely should apply to our back office.
Yeah, having those systems so important. Right? The order of building a business that can run without us is, step three is systems. We write it all out and document it, and then step four is team. Right, we then hire people to run the system. Oftentimes, we skip step three and go right to hire somebody to run, take stuff off of our plate. But we mistakenly, it's no fault of ours, but we mistakenly don't set them up for success because we don't, right? We don't have the systems in place. So makes a huge difference if they've got that document to refer back to, and less means they ask us less questions, right?
No kidding. Yeah, because I mean, when you try to when you hire someone to help out, there's an aspect to like it where I mean, it hurts your productivity for a period of time before it recovers. And like you're saying, I mean, an SOP would, I mean, makes that curve a little shorter.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 And the reason that the 7% is shadowing is typically, right, they're drinking from the fire hose, right? That we're educating or training so much in the beginning because there's so much to learn that they just can't retain it all. So if we've got notes for them to be able to go back and refer to, or processes or SOPs, then it helps accelerate that learning curve because they can go back to it multiple times versus only if they take notes, right? They only have their notes to go back to, and if their notes are only 50% correct, then only 50% are they good. And most times they're not taking notes because they're paying attention to the actual training, right? And trying to be engaged. The 7% is, you're right, it's a very low stat.
And and in the age of AI, I mean, that's something we've not really explored until recently. Is like, what can we do with AI? I think a lot of businesses are good, or there's a window here where we can do something with it, if we're paying attention. And I mean, standardizing processes. I'll be very sure. I mean, I think AI can be probably helpful and help speed that up even.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's things that can be done where, there's software. The one I'm familiar with. It's called Loom, where it can record what you do on your computer screen and your voice. So you can literally say, "Hey, step one is click here. Step two is click here and fill out this form." And then AI can turn that into, a an SOP, a written out SOP, or the video might be the right version of the training. Yeah. So yeah, I love your thought. There's ways to speed up the SOP process by leveraging technology to help us. And it sounds like you've already got a standardized format, so it'd be easy to cut and paste that template into the back office stuff and start building them.
Absolutely.
So Tanner, in your journey, when things have felt stuck or overwhelming, you've mentioned that asking for help has been a solution. So what changes or what's changed once you've brought in an outside perspective?
Ooh, like a specific change.
Just like when you feel stuck and overwhelmed and you're trying to do it on your own, you mentioned, right, asking for help has been one of the solutions. So what changes when you ask for help in terms of that feeling stuck or feeling overwhelmed?
Almost a part of it. Like even if sometimes I've talked to someone who really doesn't even may not even have specific expertise on the topic. Sometimes thinking out loud
Mm.
is pretty good help by itself. Even just to talk through it with someone can help a lot. And I mean, it's just someone who hasn't been in the minutia and the weeds for the whole time can offer a lot of fresh perspectives. I kind of equate it to reviewing your own work order. For example, like we draft a lot of prints. If you're the one that drafted it, you've looked at it for too long.
Yeah.
And like if you get someone else in there to look at it, they'll be like, here. Here's three things that aren't right. You're like, those are right in front of me. Like, how did I not see
Yeah.
that? I feel
Yeah.
like I can apply that in a larger picture of, I mean, running the business as a whole. Just having a fresh set of eyes on the situation can bring up things that seem like they're in plain sight, but I can't see them because I'm too deep in the weeds.
Yeah, absolutely. At Action Coach, we call those BFOs, blinding flashes of the obvious, where just through a few questions, the client's like, "Oh yeah, it's right there. That's what I need to do next." Right?
Wow.
But oftentimes, like you just described, like they're not able to get there on their own because they've gotten stuck or they've gotten locked into a perspective or a paradigm or staring at the same piece of paper for a few hours, right? They just don't see the trees because all they're noticing is the forest. Tanner, our show is called Self-Made as a Myth because we know that no one gets there on their own. So who are the three people that you wouldn't be where you're at and have achieved the successes that you have without them, and how they help you along the way?
Absolutely. So I'm second generation. So this is a UTS group. We're second generation business. It was founded by my father and his business partner that they worked together for years, for 30 plus years for the clients that we serve today. And they're kind of like, well, we can do it better. Let's start something. But my father and his business partner obviously wouldn't be here today without all the work that they put in. I mean, building the foundation and training up the second
Yeah.
generation. I mean, that's someone. I mean,
What are their
I'm 29, so a lot
Tanner?
of
What
experience.
what are their names?
Russ and Terry. So
Awesome. Yeah.
they founded the two companies. Then they passed on as much as I can take in such a short period of time. Most would say 29 is a little early to be in this position, and I don't disagree.
Well, congratulations. Yeah.
But they're still
All right.
around.
Who's the second person or second group of people?
I've got a friend from high school that's kind of pursued similar kind of entrepreneurial endeavors, and he's been through a couple e-commerce businesses and has kind of done some of the VC funding and has exited out of a few of them and has gained a lot of experience there. So Jacob's his name. He's been a lot of help just to bounce ideas off of, and he's in a completely different industry. So it is some fresh perspectives. I mean, he's in kind of e-commerce and product-based business, B2C kind of business to consumer stuff, where I'm in service-based business, B2B, business to business. So very different, but you get fresh ideas that way. So I'd say that's the second person.
Yeah. Awesome. And who would be number three?
Number three. Honestly, I've got a mentor at the church that I attend by the name of Norm, and he's been a huge help. Um, Kind of he was a journalist, so he worked for a business journal or for a number of years, and he interfaced with a lot of, I mean, tons of small business owners. I think it was 100 or fewer employees was the category that he was looking at, which is, I mean, we're only slightly above that now. He's provided a lot of really good advice from the interviews he's had with other business owners, um, as well as kind of managing. He's a guy I trust a lot and helping manage. He's helping manage a lot of kind of the emotional load and kind of mental load of the the weight of running a
Yeah.
business, 115 person business.
Hey, yeah. Fantastic. That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you've been blessed with some great people along the way. If they were all here with us today, Tanner, what would you want to say to them?
And thank you so much for imparting years of wisdom that I wouldn't have otherwise had to guide me in the journey here. I mean, none of this would be possible without their help. Self-made is a myth. Can't do it on our own.
Love it. And I'll put you on the spot here just a little bit more directly. What would you want to say to your dad?
Man, yeah. I mean, I can't be more grateful for the position I'm in. I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's different from working a normal job, a 9 to 5 job, but I mean, the opportunity to kind of do things that I really enjoy and provide a high quality product and like, I mean, we've got a lot of control over that to really make a difference in the industry that we serve. And I mean, it's a huge, like, like, uh, what am I trying to say? Really satisfying work, I guess. Like you're making a difference. And I mean, there's some freedom with it too. I mean, you got to get to you get to make a schedule. I mean, you're a business owner, make a
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of freedom to it. I can pursue ideas that if I think of another business idea, I mean, we have the infrastructure and the capital to do so. I mean, that's huge. The hardest part of, I mean, starting a business was so wildly risky on his part. I mean, he left his very successful career to start something that wouldn't work. And I'd say, man, thank you for taking that risk. I mean, that is huge. And we're so fortunate that we're in the situation we're in today. So I'd say thank you for taking the risk. That means everything.
Awesome, Tanner. I appreciate your vulnerability today and sharing the real stuff of what it's like to be in the messy middle. Appreciate your time and your story. Thank you.
Absolutely.
For those listening, if you're stuck in the messy middle, there's a way through it and you don't have to do it on your own. Our 2 week coaching trial helps you to see exactly what's keeping the business stuck and what needs to change. The link is in the description. And if this conversation resonated, like it, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. I'll see you all next time.